Alright, what up, y'all? We gotta talk. We have to have a conversation. I got old Blue Eyes playing in my ear. For those of you who don't know, that's Frank Sinatra. So this is what we gotta talk about. We need to get back to liberty. This is a dangerous position that we're in, and I'll explain to you what I mean. I don't really want to talk about this anymore. I want to move on to other things, but this is dominating the news, and this is what's going on in our country right now. The coronavirus. The area I'm living in right now, we're in the ordered lockdown or shelter in place, unless you're going for a walk or you're going to buy groceries or do something essential, go to the doctor or whatever. You're pretty much, ordered to shelter in place. I got a problem with that. I'm going to explain to you why I got a problem with that. So I was on Instagram, and I was, just looking through some things, and I saw the guy I follow that I keep telling you about, Maj Toure. If you're not following him yet, you're missing out. I'm telling you, you're missing out. And I agree with his argument. And and somebody in his comments said something. So he posted a story about a place in New Jersey where I guess the whole hood is out. They're like, nah, you're not forcing us to stay, and this is not going to happen. Now, some people view that as ignorant. I'm going to tell you, I do not view that as ignorant, and I'm going to explain to you why. A person made a comment, Maj Toure commented, and a person made a comment under his, and they said something, and they embodied exactly what I've been thinking this whole time. And what they said was, I had absolutely no problem staying in until I was ordered to. You know why? That may sound ignorant to you. That may seem ignorant to you. How easily would it be for our freedoms to be taken if any excuse can be used? This is my issue. When we allow government overreach, at what point do we say, all right, y'all need to chill out? And this seems extreme because I know exactly what's in some people's minds. What if it was something that was wiping out humanity and everybody was dying and it was just, wiping people out in waves? Well, here's what I would contend with that. You're always going to have stupid people that are gonna defy orders anyway. That's the first thing. You're always gonna have stupid people defy orders. You're gonna have some people that are not gonna pay attention and that are gonna want to do what they want to do regardless. What I'm contending is, it would be better for the government to have a lighter hand approach. Like, hey, look, we highly recommend everybody stay in. We want to mitigate deaths. We want to mitigate infections. If the government was able to, and the media establishment was able to scare everyone into going, and buying up all the toilet paper, which I'm telling you right now, I still don't understand that. I'm doing some digging, trying to make some connections. I have some theories, unsubstantiated, but I just don't understand the connection between a pandemic, coronavirus, and the tissue being all out. Don't get it. But this is what I was getting at. I don't think anyone would have had a problem like we had it from the get-go. Hey, look, stay in if you can. Go out if you need to. We ask you, we request that you stay in so we can mitigate the spread. And they could have kept pushing that message. Push it every day. Put it out on the media every day. It's obvious, watching everybody panic, that programming works. So they could have easily programmed everybody to stay in. They could have had it on repeat every day, every news cycle, mentioning, hey, if you guys can, stay in. We want to prevent the spread. Here's the problem with the government ordering everyone to stay in and sheltering in place. Now we're in a dangerous place because how long does this stay in place? We have the freedom constitutionally to assemble. So effectively, what you've done is you violated the U.S. Constitution, right? What's the reasoning? Again, I am not downplaying this virus. I am not downplaying this virus at all. It's serious. It's for real. People are dying. But think about this. The president is exploring going back to business and opening things back up because the damage done by shutting everything down could potentially be worse than a virus itself. Let's say we keep things shut down for 4 months. Businesses wiped out. People's savings account wiped out. Widespread panic. People starving. People with no way to make a living. Everything is at a halt. Another Great Depression. Is that worth it? And the president is exploring that right now. Like, yo, the damage and the deaths caused by shutting down might be worse than the damage done by the virus itself. Now, this is not just me parroting what he said. This is something I've thought from the get-go. We've essentially put the world on pause. Everyone criticized China when they did it. When they forced all of their people, when they shut everything down, forced people to go in. Now, granted, look, I understand this is a very tricky situation. What China doesn't have that we do have is a U.S. Constitution. Now, I want you guys to really pay attention to what's going on because I don't want you to be bamboozled, right? I think it was San Diego. Now, where I'm living right now, too, they've closed down. They've ordered everything closed down except for essential services, right? This was funny, and I was reading an article about this in I believe it's San Diego, California. Everything is or not everything. There's different things that are considered essential services. One of the things they've shut down is gun stores. But one of the things that is kept open, dispensaries. Make that make sense. Right? And I already know, I hear the people out there, well, people use marijuana for this sickness and that sickness and this. I hear you. I get you. So what you're telling me is, let's keep the people high and medicated, but not armed and prepared. I have a huge problem with that. Gigantic. And what I hope from this point moving forward, Lord willing, we get through this, right? And Lord willing, we come out on top. We come out the other side of this thing smelling like roses. That's what I hope. I'm hopeful. I'm not saying that is what's going to happen, but I'm hopeful. I hope we get back to business. I hope a lot of these people who lost their businesses, I hope they're able to build something else. I hope something goes good for them because that's devastating. I couldn't imagine. Look, I'm not doing the greatest right now through this. I don't think any of us are, right? So I'm not here to complain. I don't think there's some people that are doing okay and there's some people that are not doing okay. That's just the bottom line. But I do not want us to fall asleep at the wheel of liberty because of a virus. That sounds morbid, right? And I know people are saying we don't want people to die. I don't want people to die. Let's say this, right? Let's say if this coronavirus was to play out, let's say 22,000 people in the U.S. were to die from it if we let it play out. Now that's tragic, right? That's tragic. Every life matters. I'm a Bible believer, so I'm telling you, every life matters. But let's say on the shutdown, right? Let's say the shutdown is extended. Businesses are lost across the country. Let's say even after it's all over, we get back and an unemployment rate is now at 34% across the country, 40% across the country. People dying of starvation. Let's say there's utter turmoil and the country's in chaos and now we have a shell of the country we once had. Was that shutdown worth it? Was a compromise on liberty worth it? Now, again, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not downplaying a virus. I'm not saying that we shouldn't take precautions, that we shouldn't, just keep it to the necessities. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying, should we be forced by our government into that position? I agree with that person that commented on Maj Touré's Instagram post. I have no problem staying in, keeping my travel to a minimum, staying away from people, trying to let this thing pass. But I do have a problem being ordered to do that. I have a huge problem. That's an infringement on the Constitution. That's an infringement on liberty. And if we sit by, if we say nothing, if we just, fall on our swords and just, it is what it is. We have to do it for this situation. Look, again, I am not saying that I want people to get sick. I am not saying that this virus is not serious. What I am saying is, at what point do we give up on liberty? At what point do we defend liberty? At what point does liberty not matter? What's the famous saying? Give me liberty or give me death. Stay frosty, people.